Hey everybody, so in this video we're going to be doing a basic introduction to WebODM, how to set up your first project, how to process it, how to get a map, just very basic information. We're going to use default settings. We're not going to get into any of the settings. We are just going to run everything by default using, like I said, default settings on this, so I'll give you some options. We'll run through that, and we're just going to go through a basic overview of a few things that I think you should know when you're first getting into the program. If you're watching this video, I assume that you're just using WebODM for the first time, or you're starting to look into it to see if it's something you might want to use. And with that being the case, let's just get right into it and let's talk about what WebODM is. So WebODM is a photogrammetry software used for mainly processing drone imagery into two-dimensional maps or 3D models, digital terrain models, digital elevation models, things of that nature. When you first open the program, this is what you're going to see, with the exception of this Gilbert. This is a project that I just recently did after updating it. So when you open this up, you're going to see first project, select images in GCP, import, add project, and all of our information on the left. So let's just get started by going up here. You have your file tab, your view tab, nothing crazy here, tools. Now tools, this is big. Something that you're really going to want to look at here is reset processing queue, clear disk space, and check for updates. These three options are going to be used, I don't want to say frequently, but often enough where you need to know where they are. Sometimes if a project won't process, you need to reset your processing queue and clear your disk space. And I'd say once a week, check for updates, because WebODM does not automatically check for updates. You have to manually go to tools and check for updates. So I'm running the newest version, but right now let's just hit check for updates. Boom, on the latest version. Good. Next is diagnostic. Diagnostics just gives you some storage information. Lightning network. So Lightning network, we're not going to go into too much depth here, but the Lightning network is you utilizing WebODM software hardware to do your processing as opposed to doing your own locally. We'll go into Lightning Network a little bit more on a later date, but that's where you can find it. GCP interface. So this is where you're going to use. This is what you're going to use to enter in all your ground control points and go through. It's a little bit tough to work with. It's not super user friendly. We'll go into how to use this and how to enter GCPs in another video. They also have another GCP tool called GCP Editor that makes it a lot easier. But again, we'll go into that at another video. We're just going to stick to the basics. Processing nodes just shows you what processing nodes you have. We'll go into this in another video as well. But something unique is that you can set up different processing nodes on different hardware on your network or even remotely. So you don't necessarily have to process on the computer that you're putting the data into. But again, it's a little bit more advanced. We'll get into it later. Administration, you can go in here and you can put your own logo, brand it, change the theme, your plugins, application settings. That's where all that's found. The About tab, simply the About tab, gives you the version that you're running, a link to their GitHub, and that's about it. So let's head back to the dashboard here. Let's get started. Let's assume you're hopping in, you want to make your first map, you want to make your first model. So this is how you're going to go about it. In first project here, you can just utilize this for your first project like it says, and you're going to come over to select images and GCPs. Now when you click on this, it's going to bring up a file browser. In your file browser, this is where you're going to find the images that you want. So we'll go into May 2022. This is a particular flight that I flew 2 years ago. Go in and I'm going to select all my images. Bring them in. Here it tells you how many images you selected, 172, that sounds right. The name, it automatically gives you that the date that the flight was flown on or the images were taken on, and a general location of where it was. We're going to rename this to YouTube Video Tutorial. And now it gives us some options here. So our processing node, we want to just leave at node ODM1 Q0. This just simply means that it's going to process it locally on this machine, the computer that you're running the software on right now. Then we go to our options. Right now it's selected at 3D model because that was the last one that I did. And it gives you quite a few options here, so we'll just go over those quick. Default is just going to run you with default settings, and it's going to give you a very basic two-dimensional map. Couple other things in there, but for the most part that's what it's going to do. It's going to process it at a medium quality. It's going to process it medium speed because it's medium quality. It's going to give you a two-dimensional map. There's nothing wrong with default if you're just looking for a two-dimensional map. Resize images, you're going to want to just leave that at yes. What this means is that it's just simply resizing the photos that were taken from the drone down to a more manageable size for the program. This just helps with processing and quality, because sometimes you may have images from multiple drones or drones combined with cameras. So this just brings all of the images to the same size. And this is basically what you're going to do for your first project. You're going to go select the option that you want. So we'll just leave it on default for this, but the other options are high resolution, gives you a higher quality, fast ortho photo. This is just going to run a ortho photo for you, so a two-dimensional map. Not going to give you any of the 3D models. Field, DSM and DTM, forest, buildings, 3D model, volume analysis, multispectral. So these are all just a bunch of preset settings that come from WebODM, and the people over there, that they tweak the settings, selected certain options so that it would work better. Like forest, you'll find as you get into drone mapping, you'll find that trees often cause troubles because of the leaves and the branches, and it's difficult for the software to properly put that imagery together because a lot of the times it changes with wind conditions, but again, that's a little bit more advanced. And we'll just stick with default for now, and we'll select edit. I want to show you what some of these options are. So as you can see, there's quite a few settings or options that you can change. And as you go through here, when you're first getting started, you're not going to want to play with any of these. I shouldn't say any of them, most of them. Most of these are things that you're going to want to learn about as you progress in your drone mapping and modeling, as you learn more and you start being able to tweak these. But the one setting that I am going to enable is rolling shutter. This particular drone imagery that I took was taken with a DJI Mavic Air 2S, which does have a digital or rolling shutter. So I want to enable that because that's going to help with the imagery, understanding that the drone was moving when the shutter activated, as opposed to a mechanical shutter. I'll do another video getting into the difference between mechanical and digital shutters and what's better and how to do those. But so we're going to select rolling shutter, and then we're just going to scroll through. Our point PC quality, point cloud quality is at medium. That's fine. I don't really see anything else that I want to do except for maybe DTM, which stands for digital terrain model. Go with a DEM too. And that's about it. We're going to save those settings. We go click review. It's going to just give us an option to look at everything before we go. And then we hit start processing. And it's really as simple as that. Now WebODM is going to upload the project files in, and it's going to start processing. A lot of people want to ask questions about how long this takes, and it really depends on how many images you have, what your file sizes are, what you're making, the quality, what kind of hardware you're running. I mean, there's so many variables that you can't really put a generalized time frame on anything. Some hardware may process this particular project in 20 minutes at the highest quality. Other hardware, it might take 4, 6, 7, 8 hours. So it really depends on what it is. But so that's it. This is a basic introduction. If you want to just hammer out a two-dimensional map or a 3D model real quick, that's really all you need to know to do your first project with WebODM. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if there's anything else you guys want to see. Thanks.